Alright, hello everybody! I am Conquering History Games, and welcome to the resumption of my live stream here in Hearts of Iron 4 1,000 Week Reich, where we're going to be playing as Germany attempting to go for the military junta. Uh-oh, don't you crash on me. Don't go crash in my heart. Oh, and then my PC went, I couldn't if I tried. James McGill, as in the man who would become Saul Goodman, is in my stream. Am I in need of a lawyer? Oh, come on. You know, I'm gonna open the fucking task manager. Something's wrong here. Oh, how typical. The OBS is completely fucking throttling my CPU right now. Oh my god. Hold on, we gotta go to the transition screen here for a minute. The Steam's doing some stupid shit too, looks like. Come on, come on. Oh yeah, it's just fucking crashing. Come on. Alright guys, we might have to do that thing where I turn off the OBS. I'm gonna have to turn off the OBS for a minute and then come back, I think. Yeah, because it's doing the typical throttling the CPU. Okay guys, I think that we're live again now. Yeah, the OBS now is slightly more reasonable at the moment. Still just, completely fucking sucking up everything, in terms of, memory and CPU usage. It's totally obscene. I'll tell you, ever since they did that update back in January or something, it's getting to be intolerable. Alright. But we're back. We're back. So, yeah, it's the brand new year, 1953. We're starting to slowly build some more stuff. Alright, we probably should... You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and disband this cavalry. That's stupid and we don't need them. Who are we gonna put in charge of everybody? We got Model, Manstein, Rommel. Usually less ideologically driven, believes in the Wehrmacht's superiority over the Schutzstaffel. Yeah. Okay. Let's put Model. Yeah. Okay. Cavalry's clearly the strongest, especially against tanks. Yeah, well, I guess it's not so clear to me. What have we got here? We can get better mobile infantry. Let's get that. I'm not really short on anything per se right now. These are 21, which is kind of annoying. So what if we... Oh yeah, we don't have any army experience to modify these divisions. Okay, well that kind of sucks. These ones... Okay, that's the SS Panzer Division, so we'll put the skull there. Alright. German Education Bunddeutscher Model. Expanding their reserve. Alright, we no longer have civilian factories, it seems. Yep, they're all gone. Oversight Kriegsmarine, economic stagnation, highly industrialized, expanding the reserve. Yeah, it's all gone. Everything. We have no civilian factories whatsoever. After we've done this ruling position thing, I think we need to figure out what the hell we're doing in terms of Council Coalition. Oh, this is afterwards. Saying we've got to do something in regards to the Navy, but I guess we'll start going down this economic stuff, maybe. Volkswagen, 1 million cars. This would only cost 1,000 Dutch marks or less. It wouldn't take long for 1 million to be produced. There's red and black color scheme, a small swastika on the door. Such limited edition models will be distributed on a raffle, will be limited to 1,000. Shining example of the Führer's care for the Germans. Alright, let's keep working on these helicopters as well. In terms of armor, ceramics is good. Yeah, let's get a bunch of this stuff real quick. Okay, let's start making helicopters, shall we? Civilians were like soldiers in reserve. If Himmler gets control of the SS, he'll get boosts during the Civil War. Alright, rulership questions. Important. Today, Obergruppenführer and Secretary of the German Reich, Martin Bormann, was summoned by Herr Hitler to his palace in Germania. The administrative and military affairs have once more taken their toll on the health of the Führer, and the taste of the 1948 stroke and coma is still very well present with him. He's considering delegating power to the more experienced and fairly young Martin. However, the fear that Bormann could be another von Tresckow or traded to Germany continues to haunt Hitler, and paranoid voices tell him Bormann should be stopped from gaining yet more power. Yeah, because, like, Bormann is not reserve-minded, so we should not use him, right? Hold on a second, I left my water in the other room. I'll be right back. Hold on, everybody. Sorry. Yeah, we'll see who's in charge of Spain in a second. Fucking son of a... Oh, I know. Okay. So the person who's in charge now is, hey, Fran Chan, thank you. It's Luis Carreo Blanco, paternal autocrat, who's in charge. Okay. If you complete the ruling position and appointed professor, inform everybody on decisions political crisis will bypass. So, if that's the case, we're just gonna believe in our confidants and not appoint. So yeah, we need to not appoint anybody, right? Coup d'etat in Cuba. The Cuban army led by Bautista has shut down the civilian government and installed itself in power. Batistas is in charge. Fulgencio. What a name. Alright, let's work on this economy for a while. We gotta do something about these consumer good factories. Kingdom of Montenegro has been refounded. No kidding. Under Marija the First. In practice, it remains a puppet state of Italy, firmly in the diplomatic sphere. Are you gonna do a straw poll on which path for Germany? Is there more beyond the Junta? Maybe. Or maybe there should just be a bidding war! Harry Truman inaugurated. What a show. Yeah. Oh man, Republicans on suicide watch. That would be 6 elections in a row that they've lost. The Democratic Party's turning into like what the PRI is in Mexico. It's just... They're on their way to just 70 straight years, or I think I looked it up later, it was 71. Yeah, 71 straight years of a single party in charge. So, how's it going in Vietnam? Come on, into the Algerian War, who ended up winning the Republic of Algeria under Larbi Ben Mahid. Hold on. Vienna Project. Project's meant to shape Vienna. So Vienna would be right here. Into an ideal German city. Fine, what a beautiful building. Oh, cool. So we just got a bunch of free civilian factories, basically. But as long as our consumer good factories are this way, it's not actually going to help that much. I guess this doesn't really matter. Surprised the military didn't step in to shut down the inauguration. Yeah, Democratic PRI. But let's check in on how Ho Chi Minh is doing. Wow, the Republic of India, they keep taking more and more of the subcontinent. It's just Osman Ali Khan over here that's still left. Man, I'm really looking forward to the Kaiser Reich update on India. I think it's going to be very interesting. India's always been one of my favorite areas to play in. I just actually really like, in general, anytime you're playing a nation that has, like, relatively low industrial capabilities, especially at the beginning, but they have huge population bases. So Russia, China, India, some of my favorite areas in any mod to play in, but especially in Kaiser Reich. Alright, how's Vietnam doing? Oh, China got over the river. They got over the river. That could be real bad. The Greater Syria State has invaded the Arab Federal Republics. This is really interesting, whatever's going down here. Glorious War for Greater Syria. It looks like we're going to get the United Arab Republics. I don't know what form exactly it's going to do. The India update got put on hold, sadly. It's fine, it's fine. You just got to wait. Uh-oh. The Führer is dead. Today, the most powerful man in the world, the man who has defined the last 30 years of history, the Führer, Adolf Hitler, has perished. This month was a turbulent month. Yeah, he suffered 2 strokes, multiple heart attacks. But he still wasn't dying. Hold on. Leaked reports said he was eventually weak, mostly unable to walk, staying in his private home, the Berghof, to rest and stay close to his wife, along with one of the best doctors in the Reich in the case of emergency. The area around the Berghof is locked down from any civilians. The German government has announced a period of national mourning for all of Germany for 1 month, while millions of others across the world will briefly celebrate the death of the man who brought so much suffering in his wake. 9! Oh my God! So political power gain minus 10%, stability minus 20%. Yeah. So, some of this stuff just got canceled. So now, I don't know if we actually can even take anything yet. One month paid vacation. Did it say that? I thought it just said there was going to be 1 month of mourning, not necessarily paid vacation. Planning the funeral. Get this funeral done. Oi, who ain't Scotland and Manhattan? You not paying your licenses? The Kingdom of Sweden has accepted our invitation for the funeral. Shocking. Italy is refusing this Benito Mussolini. How could you? Bormann is summoning the Senate. The Senate should be headed by Bormann himself. He states the position of President of the Senate is merely a ceremonial role. There's a temporarily new, more ruling body of Germany. China is accepting this. The White Sea has been evacuated because of the threat of the Bolsheviks. So we're not directly in charge of Archangel anymore. It's now Erzengel Amratatskibeten. Oh, Vagan has been assassinated. This is the French. This is the guy ruling over the crumbling, pathetic entity known as the French state. The Regency was quickly assembled. His actions, submitting as an independent entity for your time. Some view his rules, yet another practice running for power in the palms of foreign power. Here, Memorials Day. Germany stands tall in the world. Our fatherland of 17 years ago was still shackled by the terms unjustly imposed upon the West. Jewish puppets made Germany stand tall now, then, forevermore. Alright. So we bypassed Coalition Council. It seems we still can't actually take anything. German-Swiss detonated a bomb in our factories. So the Swiss Germans, because we absorbed Switzerland, I don't know if y'all noticed. That's going on. What is this demilitarized zone? What's happening? Okay, so I'm getting conflicting information. Somebody's saying important, don't let Goering into the parliament, and then Andreas says let Goering into the parliament. We're gonna invade Italy. Oh yeah, that sounds fun. I actually have a campaign. I need to think about it, but I'm probably actually gonna do my first basically world conquest run in essentially forever. Not in this, but in a different mod. I won't say which mod it is just yet. But it's to kind of, I don't know if celebrate would be the right word, but as an event. Okay, wait. Yeah, Wife of the Fuhrer wants to make a speech. She's not planned to appear. Some figures argue letting Eva Braun speak on behalf of the Fuhrer would destroy the Fuhrer's image in the eyes of Aryan women, who have also advocated that Eva Braun is the best remaining symbol of the Fuhrer in flesh and blood, who can serve as an effective speaker to bring Germany together. Let's let her speak. Sure, that sounds fun. Alright. So the Wehrmacht's role. Several leading party figures have secretly held meetings with Wehrmacht High Command trying to secure their support in the upcoming power struggles. There's the populist choice, Spears and Goebel. Legitimate government under Bormann, Hermann Goering's cronies, or they could be neutral. So I guess we want... I don't know. So J-Dog says he wrote for the mod, so we will stay neutral then. And I'm making save files. If I screw up somewhere, we can do it. We just want the Junta. Rommel's speech. General Field Marshal Erwin Rommel made an appearance on national television. The Fox of Ardennes gave a grand speech. The German people must stand together as one. If we bicker and disagree, the nation would crumble. We need to find solidarity and a common solution. Thank you, General Field Marshal. Okay. What's next? Industry stuff. We're way too... Yeah, we can't do any of this stuff. It's a million years too early. Alright. The French Revolution. Does this mean it just began? The death of Hitler. After failed pacification attempt, the resistance has organized themselves in the regions to launch a rebellion, proclaiming the formation of a new French Republican government with the goal of restoring French independence and democracy. A portion of the French military has defected, strengthening the so-called Republican government. Depending on Germany's internal issues, intervention might still be a possibility. Alright, the Grand... Oh yeah, Braun speaks for Speer. Albert Speer denied he plotted this. Anyway. In memory of the grand funeral of Adolf Hitler. Yeah, tapped on. Let's see. In memory of Germany's fallen Führer, Adolf Hitler, Germany witnessed the biggest public event in its entire history. Started with a military parade performed by the elite SS Grenadiers, followed by a 4 hours long orchestra performance. Goodness. Adolf Hitler's funeral was held in the heart of Volkshalle under the guard of the Inner Circle and loyal bodyguards. Attended by tens of thousands of Germans, Germania was reportedly overcrowded by mourning Germans. Amongst the dozens of Germans, only few foreigners attended this grand funeral. This event quickly became a television banger, with the voice of Joseph Goebbels echoing throughout the world in the form of his patriotic speech, which lasted for upwards of 10 hours. What, is this saying that Goebbels by himself spoke for 10 hours? Holy crap. I need to look up what the longest speeches are in history besides filibusters. Where does that rank? Speeches in history. It's probably going to be a filibuster. Okay. Okay, here we go. Longest speech ever given at the United Nations was Krishna Menon of India. His statement was given during 3 meetings. According to times listed on the meeting records, the meetings lasted more than 8 hours. Longest, but those were meetings. I'm not sure that actually counts as the same. So longest time speech was made by Fidel Castro on September 26, 1970. Time listed is 269 minutes. So 269 minutes in hours would be like about 4.5 hours. All right. Yeah, I'm looking up other stuff. Yeah, Fidel Castro, 4 hours 29 minutes. Let's see. William Gladstone in 1853 delivered the longest budget speech on record, clocking in at 4 hours 45 minutes while apparently drinking a mixture of egg and cherry. That's true. You want to do, like, I've always heard that, like, egg whites are really good for your throat, especially if you're a singer. You can form a communist People's Republic of Germany. I've heard of that, but isn't it just like it's just one tile? They only take Germania and nothing else, and you gotta win from there or something? The segregationists should have gotten Goebbels. Cambodian Democrats! Well, anything's better than Pol Pot, am I right? Okay, how's Ho Chi Minh doing? He lost this one tile, but he's still holding on. Speer's Goebel bloc is attempting to dominate the Senate. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I think Russia just blew up. Or at least our chunks of it. Yep. 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 We got the Red Army up here. Provisional Oblast. The Young Russian Committee. Free Russian Movement. Yeah. It's blowing up right now. Slavic Revolt. What we might do is if the communists pop up in Germany, I might make a save file and we could try to do that. Egg whites are great for your body and skin. Yellows make good paint. Well, the yellow also has most of the egg's nutrition, but it also has the cholesterol, which is why some people don't like to eat the egg yolks. I say, just go for a fucking jog. That'll fix your cholesterol. Having said that, I actually have high cholesterol. It's genetic. I've one time in my life, and this includes like when I was in the army, this includes when I was like training to be a marathon runner, you know, no matter what diet, whatever, I've only one time in my life ever had cholesterol lower than 200. Runs in the family. But, you know, I don't think it's that big a deal. Plenty of people in my family live to a quite old age. It's just one of those things. Grain crisis in Ukraine. There's a branch of the Black Army here. Which one are they? It's not the Moscow Red Army, is it? Or what's this? Republic of Finland. Oh shit, they're at war with, or what? Reich's Commissariat. Oh, okay, I read that wrong. Who's ruling France right now? I think it's still just the Regency. Caucus and Chaos, yeah. We got the Mountain Republic here, the Cossack League. It's all going to hell pretty fast. Second Hungarian-Romanian War. They're getting into it over Transylvania again. Oh, they're dark. Site 1000. Hello, everybody. Wow, look at all these viewers we've got here. Wow. Anybody here who wasn't here yesterday? Oh, man. Everything's just blowing up. Azerbaijan. I was thinking about Azerbaijan today. My brain, it was just wandering earlier today, and whoop. Ethiopia uprising. Oh, good for them. Who's leading it? Yeah, I figured Holly would be dead. Okay, but yeah, Hearts of Iron 4. I think Southwest Red Army Command. Okay, yeah, Ukraine's now blowing up. Holy fuck. So we've got two different red armies going on. But yeah, I was remembering today, this was many years ago, I want to say it was like 4 years ago when I did my Russian Republic campaign in Kaiserreich. And I remember I was trying to go as like centrist as possible. So for example, I think I had like the Social Democrats win in the legislature, but I had Dmitry Romanov as the executive. You know, things like that. And I remember I puppeted Azerbaijan instead of paying the money, the political points or whatever to just absorb it into Russia. And it's because like the only thing I wanted Azerbaijan for was the oil, so you just make them a puppet and then you can trade one factory for 80 oil. It's a good deal. And fucking I just remember there were people who were just having fucking shit fits in the comments going, you might as well have just gone communist because you're being such a fucking leftist right now. And just bitch. I'm telling you, there's something about this community, and I'm not saying what my personal ideologies are, never will, but just the slightest sniff of leftism and people just have a shit fit. I remember I used to, anytime it doesn't happen anymore because I think I told them all to leave eventually, but people used to DM me whenever I would play a communist nation or even just like a social democrat style or leftist one, and they would DM me saying, are you actually a communist? Because if you're a communist, I'm not gonna fucking watch you anymore. And I would always tell them the same thing. I'd say, dude, if you care that much about like what somebody who's playing a video game and doesn't even talk about his personal beliefs, what their ideology is, I want you to just leave. I just like, I'm not gonna say what I am, but I would rather you just leave if you care that fucking much, because I'm not gonna say anyway. And I actually no, I used to be able to say never, but it's happened one time in like 4 years. I don't remember what nation I was playing, but I was doing a fascist run. I don't remember what mod it was either. But one time, somebody actually DM'd me asking if I believed it, like if I actually was a fascist. Yeah, collapse of the Caucasus. But yeah, 1 to like dozens. Not a great ratio. And it's just like, and so I also still have never had somebody DM me whenever I'm playing Crusader Kings 2 or something if I believe in feudal society or something. Yeah, see, that's the same logic as playing Nazi Germany and someone calls you a Nazi. And that's funny that you say that because I think it was either the first or second campaign I ever did on the channel was a World Conquest Nazi Germany campaign. I think it was a live stream series, so I don't know if you could search it because I think that was before I realized you could tag things. Let me try to find it. But yeah, it's an old one. Give me a second here. Conquering History Games Germany World Conquest. Nope, because every other fucking Germany World Conquest on YouTube is popping up first in the search engine. Yeah. Anyway. The rebirth of France. The French resistance elements wrested control of many state organs from the Nazi puppet government in Paris. The resistance has existed since France fell to the Germans, but until now it has never been able to mount an existential threat against the rule of the collaborators. At about midnight, a bomb was set off at the residence of the Chief d'État, killing all who were inside, including French Chief of State Maxime Weygard, but he's already been dead. As the sun rose over Paris, the revolutionaries went on the radio and declared that the rule of traitors was over and that a new day was shining all over France. Don't you dare be sour! It's a new day! Yes, it is! In France. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And they are led by Henri Frenay, which makes sense because he was a general. Wow. A new France. Yeah, he was a Gaullist, and he was also a part of the fucking resistance. Although, well, he was a Gaullist after all, but I think when they were forming the government in exile, he got asked to be a part of it. And he rejected it because they were still allowing political parties, and he was not down with that. So, anyway, there we go. Let's see. Kratos says, CHG, do you think of your channel as a job or a hobby? I would say it's a hobby that I'd love for to be my job. You know, if anybody's interested in helping make this my job, you actually could go to patreon.com/Voyages in Time. I'll actually link it in the description below. And if you become a patron user of mine, you're going to be able to... hold on, wait. Let's see. How do I go? Home. Creator home. No, how do I go to posts? Hold on. How do I... I'm trying to remember how I look at my... Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Patreon.com/Voyages in Time. And one of the things I want to do, and you know, hopefully within the next week, I want to start resuming my... yeah, Moscow Red Army's declaring war on everybody, civil war in West Russia. Yeah, it's crazy out there. I'm going to be starting up my Legend of the Galactic Heroes reviews and analysis stuff again. End of Moscowan. Unable to defend itself from the natives. Hold on. You know, I want to be able to, you know, talk about history stuff, like kind of do serious documentary style videos, and also review anime. but you know, talk about it like Legend of Galactic Heroes. I'm going to be talking about how it invokes things that actually have happened in our human history. One of the things that I want to do, and there were several things recently that have influenced it. Okay, hold on real quick. So the SS should have greater influence. Himmler and Bormann form secret bloc. Himmler refuses the office offer, but SS will keep watch. What do you guys think I should do? Also, the Hearts of Iron 4 Senate says, CHG, do you have a Discord? Yes, I used to have one. It was complete shit, and I will never do that again. So what we're gonna do... press S to spit on Moscowan. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that have kind of influenced it, but one of the things that I want to do, and it's like literally one of those things, like I will do this before I die. There's a French Revolution anime with a blonde chick. Review it. Tell me the name of it, and I will look it up. I'm gonna refuse the offer. It's just one of those things like... Okay, this isn't the only thing that has inspired it, but one of them was I've been going back through Mike Duncan, who's like the god of history podcasts. He's the one who did the history of Rome, but he's also still actively working on the Revolutions podcast. Anyway, I had once been listening to his French Revolutions podcast years ago, but I didn't finish it, so I decided recently to start it from the beginning and go through it again, and actually finish it this time. And there's a part of it where he kind of just does. There's like a break he does in the middle of it because he had hit. It's the Third Spanish Republic. Adolfo Suarez is now the temporary leader of Spain. Wow. Liberal democracies on a fucking roll between Truman, the French Republic, and the Third Spanish Republic. Holy crap. Anyway, so there was a part where he's just answering these questions about the production of his podcast and like how he feels about certain things and what inspired him to do History of Rome. And he just kind of talked about Mayday. He just is then talking about like one of the things that whenever it's those late nights and you're having an Albanian revolution, and you're having like an existential crisis, he just remembers, wait a minute, even if I died tomorrow, I did the entire History of Rome podcast, and that's not nothing. And then he goes into a sound, sweet sleep. And so for me, it's one of those things that, I've got like personal ambitions. I'd love to write books one day. I'd love to be a professor. All sorts of different things, I would want to do. But it's one of those things, at least in the short term, in the younger part of my life, I'd like to be able to say, you know what, I went through the entirety of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. I reviewed every episode. I did analysis on it. I made, like, obviously it's not written down. It's not in a fucking journal, but it's like, but I created an academically minded piece of work on Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which is, for me, the greatest anime of all time. And, really brought meaning to that phrase. Perhaps the central thesis of the whole show, in every age, in every place, the deeds of man remain the same. Totally, like, off the rails now. But it's, yeah, and it's, so it's a passion project of mine. So, yeah, by donating to my Patreon, you can help fund me doing that. Because even if I did one a week, it's going to take me years to do it. I've kind of got a head start. It's been, I got like a 5-episode head start. But, yeah, it's 110 episodes. Anyway, Goebbels is recreating the brown shirts. Woohoo. Political power and stability is plummeting. Way in the negatives. Senate meeting after Bormann's dealing with Himmler resulted in the Schutzstaffel holding greater influence in politics. Members of the Spears-Goebel bloc debated aggressively, saying Bormann's decisions are illegal and were not approved by the majority of the Senate. Many Senate members followed Spears and Goebel, leaving the Senate half empty by the end of the day's session. Germany is boiling. Creative Nickname says, I never watched this anime, but now I want to. Just because you are so clearly passionate about it. Oh, I extremely am. And so, like, for example, the episode I want to get out, I'd love to get it out Monday night. We'll have to see. Is on episode 6. So here's the thing, too. Like, the thing that kind of sucks about doing this little project is, so the first season, it's not that nothing happens in the first season. Actually, a lot of the things in the first season are extremely important. But the seriously epic stuff happens in season 2 and onward, and you kind of start to realize, holy crap, season 1 was like just prologue in a way. It's like season 1 of Lost. Like, what happens in season 1 of Lost, really? Without spoiling things too much, it's like the only, I guess, meaningful thing besides, and I'm not counting, like, they find a source of water so they don't die of dehydration, stuff like that. It's like, is that they open the latch. That it took us 24 episodes to open the latch. It's like, no, it's because the whole first season is just you're learning about all these characters. With Borman's secret dealings performed behind the Senate's back, discontent is now growing within the chamber. More have joined the Spears Global faction and are now challenging Martin Bormann. We're going to say Bormann shall obey, right? Because we're wanting reform, right? But yeah, so anyway, like, episode 6 of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, I guess to slightly spoil it, it's like, all that happens is a bunch of people stand around talking about what they're going to do in episode 7, for the most part. But, like, oh, you want to do does what he wants? Fuck. Does what he wants is how you get the coup? Alright. All of Europe smelled blood in the water. It's like you meet these characters, or it's not really characters, but you meet this unit called the Rosenritter, which, so basically in Legend of the Galactic Heroes, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's you know what, it's kind of like Star Wars, actually. In fact, I once heard somebody say on the internet, or read somebody say on the internet, and I thought this was very, it's a good point, is that, like, the Star Wars, like the movie series Star Wars and the anime series Legend of the Galactic Heroes would actually make more sense if they swapped their titles. Because Legend of the Galactic Heroes is about a war, and Star Wars is about people. The wrench means that he's a mod. J-Dog's a mod. Anyway, so these Rosenritter are people who used to live in the Empire but now fight for the Alliance, and so, like, I'm going to be talking about other examples of that through history, that kind of concept. Recreating the brown shirts, block storms out. Let's see, Darkside1000 says, can I say thank you for your playthroughs and stories? Oh, thank you. Are you talking about the new Thesis? Okay, so the new Thesis, I don't think there was anybody in the fucking world who was more excited for the Legend of the Galactic Heroes remake than me. A lot of people were complaining about the art style, but I was just going, cause when the trailer came out, and I just thought, you know what, guys, let's give it a chance. It's, like, not the final product. And they kind of cleaned it up a little bit, but there were still some bits of the art that I didn't like. But that's kind of subjective. But I basically ended up dropping the show, and I almost finished it, because I think there's been 2... When's the next China Mao's Legacy stream? Maybe Monday? Wait, no, today's Sunday. Probably Tuesday. Let's say Tuesday for right now. How my day goes tomorrow is going to determine how the rest of the week actually goes for me, so stand by on that. Okay, we're going to say Bormann can do whatever he needs to. What was it? Oh, yeah. So I think there's been 2 seasons of the new Thesis, so there's like 24 episodes. And I think I got 21 episodes in, and I just stopped watching it because the updated like space battles were great, which is like, that's kind of, you could argue, I wouldn't say it's a weakness of the original show, but like they didn't, but you know, that was something they were emphasizing in the trailers, I felt, of the remake, where it's like, you know, now we got a fucking budget for these space battles, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, minus 556 pp. The Reichsmarschall Knox. Political turmoil in Germany is spiraling out of control. Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring has offered a lending hand to the council, requesting to give the council a speech that would unite politicians for the common good of Germania should the council open the doors for Göring. We want to let him in, right? No? Has Japan gotten nuked in this timeline? I think they did. I think the Pacific War was a loss for Japan. But I thought that the remake was really dumbing down the dialogue, and it just started to feel like the show was treating me like I was stupid. And I know that I had already, you know, obviously I knew the original, I know what's gonna happen. Okay, some people are saying close the door, some people are saying let him in. What the fuck? Attempted terror attack. Pustas, overthrow, still more Croatia stuff. So I eventually just dropped it, and I thought, you know what, I could better use this time watching the original again or something. Yeah, Japan's still occupied. Senate uproar. Bormann gave a strong stance and reminded the Senate of its place. Many officials in the NSDAP are now protesting against Bormann's actions as corrupted and tyrannical. They are now demanding Bormann immediately accept the Senate's demand or face consequences. How will Bormann react? So we have to say he wants to stand firm, right? Yeah, to like piss them off. Yeah, political crisis will escalate. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Alright. Hold on, we now have outdated equipment here. There we go. Okay, cool. Goodness, what was I saying? Yeah, but just... Do you have a meow or a bark in your possession? What does that mean? Bormann has been ousted. He has lost all support within the party and forcibly removed. There's going to be an emergency election. Okay. Here we go. Post-Bormann election. Alright, so... We should say the Wehrmacht, right? The Wehrmacht should take control of the situation because we want the Junta, don't we? Oh, a cat or a dog. Yes, I do have a cat named Caesar. Kratos. So I figure, yeah, the Wehrmacht, that's what we wanted. With the government seemingly in chaos, the Wehrmacht has been summoned to ensure law and order. Units stormed the Senate Hall and dismissed all officials before making a statement confirming that a junta headed by Erich von Manstein has been established. Glory to the army. The Senate retires. Manstein becomes leader for the National Socialist Party. Emergency coup. After a period of power struggle in Germany, the military's dissatisfaction towards the political class has escalated into a full-blown coup. It's the 18th Brumaire! Except, not really. So let's see. It's the 26th. Hold on. So let's see. It's the 26th of May. So that would be in the month of Prairial. So the 26th of Prairial is Fromental, which is dedicated to oat grass. Yeah. Which is a wild oat that can grow up to 1.5 meters tall. Alright. Make a save now. Got it. Good idea. Okay, Germany, military coup, start. Okay. Political crises seem to be over, but the new military government must handle the remnants of the previous government delicately to prevent further political unrest. The army knows best. So we should put Manstein in charge, right? Since he's running the show now. Erich von Manstein also increases army experience gained daily, more max planning, more land fort construction speed. Bwam! Bwam! Making noises. Bwam! The freaking... Okay. So, martial law. The first step to securing Germany from its internal threats must be a mass terror inflicted upon our opponents, and we will secure this by declaring a convenient martial law across Germany. The emergency will allow for arrest and indefinite detention without trial, extraordinary powers to be exercised regardless of civilian rank, and for generals to assume senior state functions. All powers we will use in full measure. Can't wait to go back to We the Revolution. Yep, there's so much to play. This is a really roundabout way to get to the status quo. Oh, well, because Eastern Europe doesn't stand for anything, some Frenchie? Is that what you're saying? It's like, everybody knows that Western Europe is Europe. Yeah. But incidentally, I did finish that French Revolution podcast today, which was cool. I'm probably I don't know. I'm probably gonna listen to his Haitian Revolution one now because it runs concurrent to coronation of Elizabeth II. Well, here we go. Elizabeth takes the throne in troubled times. But what was I gonna say? Does making your troops get on boats, they'll give you all of your troops? What does that mean? But yeah, I'll probably listen to his Haitian Revolution one, but after that, I'm really debating going back and actually trying to listen to all his Revolutions podcasts from the beginning. So like go back to the English Civil War. But I want to check out the Haitian one, because I actually don't know a ton about the details with the Haitians. Like, I know a little bit from reading Larry Gonick, because he was pretty into that. But like for example, there was a book that came out last year, which was supposed to be the new like serious, like this is the genre defining history of the Haitian Revolution. It's called Black Spartacus, but it's so expensive last I checked. But the paperback's going to come out in September, so I'll probably pick up a copy then. Check out Mike Duncan's book, The Storm Before the Storm. Oh, actually, so that was something that was funny that happened while I was listening to the French Revolutions podcast. So it was around when he was getting to the part, it's like in that period between 89 and 92, where everything's kind of lovey-dovey in the French Revolution. Like, it's tense, but it's relatively lovey-dovey. You got Talleyrand blessing Lafayette at the Federation Festival, right? Basque country. Oh, the Basques are revolting, and they're also up in arms. Yeah, AI. Oh, this is going to be a bit of a nasty one down here. This is one happy individual here. But anyway, so yeah, when I was listening to the French Revolutions podcast, I thought, you know what? Because at least for me personally, I was taught a lot as an American growing up about Lafayette, because Lafayette, he kind of the Lafayette in the American historical memory is George Washington's adopted son, basically. Like that's how he's treated in the canon, so to speak. So he's a big deal, and so we learn a lot about him, because George Washington never had any biological sons. Or did he? Did he have one? He had none that lived. Basically, but I was learning more about Lafayette in the context of the French Revolution. I know that he survives until the later ones as well. And so I'm listening to Mike Duncan's French Revolutions podcast, and then I was thinking, you know what? I am not aware of any books, or at least popular books, that are about Lafayette, even though he's like this central figure in American Revolutionary history. And so I thought maybe I could one day write a book about Lafayette. And then it was one of those things like this was all happening in my head within like 2 minutes. Like I could write a book about him, and it'd be so easy to have the title. I'd call him the Hero of Two Worlds, because that was his nickname. Like, what a beautiful name for a book. And so I'm like, I'll call it the Hero of Two Worlds, and I'd look at him from the American perspective, but also the French perspective, and the French perspective could be about how, like, he was seen as this big reformist, but then everybody eventually turned on him, and then he eventually, sticks around even after the Napoleonic era, and like, I could just cover his whole life. And then, like, a few days later, I go onto the Revolutions podcast website, because I usually listen to the podcast on YouTube. I very rarely go to the website. I go on the fucking website. Turns out Mike Duncan had, because he made the French Revolutions one in like 2014, 2015, I think. So he's working on the Russian Revolution these days. Anyway, but I go onto the Revolutions podcast, and I find out that he hasn't been posting for like 6 months straight. And he comes back, and he had recently come back and had made a message about it, and he was taking 6 months off because, number one, he got sick, but also, number two, he was wrapping up a book he was writing, which was going to be called Lafayette, Hero of Two Worlds, and it's going to be coming out soon. And it's just, God, son of a bitch! Yeah, he beat me to it! He beat me to that book. And there's only, I think, been one other time in my life where I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me! Like, you know, you have a book idea and somebody else stole it. I was at somebody's house and the person had a lot of history books, and this was an idea I had in, hold on, I actually need to look up when I had the idea. I know that sounds like a strange thing, like, how do you look up what year you had an idea? Well, it's because I had the idea when I was listening to a song, so I need to look up when it came out. Okay, so I must have had this idea in 2013 or so, when this band called Volbeat, yep, June 2013. So this band called Volbeat, which is they're a band from Denmark, and they play rock music. Some call it metal. I think metal might be a little too strong of a term to describe them, but they put out this song called Lola Montez, which is about a... I'm sorry for the delay, guys. I'm trying to figure my shit out here. Here we go. Yeah, so they put out this song called Lola Montez, which was about Lola Montez herself, who was a real-life woman. Incidentally, the album that's on Outlaw, Gentlemen, and Shady Ladies is, like, one of my favorite... It's in my top 500 albums. They're kind of... It's, like, Western-influenced rock. I guess you could say it's rockabilly. But it's like... The whole album is, like, telling American Wild West stories. But it's Danish rock. So it's certainly unique. Anyway, so like they did a song about Lola Montez, and I thought, oh, that would be now Lola Montez was a real woman. Her real name was Eliza, though. Lola Montez was just her stage name. But she just went on all these crazy adventures all over the world. Like, she was in Australia, and then I think she ended up dying in she died in the United States. Yeah, she died in the United States. But like she was the mistress to the King of Bavaria, and just all this stuff. And I thought I should write a book about her life sometime. And, you know, I could use the lyrics from the song as, like, epigraphs at the start of different chapters. Okay, Old Guard Coup. Hold on here. But anyway, so this was a few years ago. I was at somebody's house, and they had all these books, and I'm just flipping through them. And it turns out somebody already wrote a book about Lola Montez. And I was just like, what? Fuck, they beat me to it. And then, hold on a sec. Old Guard Coup. And so I think, I don't know, maybe it's a shitty book, and then I start flipping through it, and it turns out the guy who wrote the book was actually the person who had the access to, like, the archives of her personal correspondence and all her personal shit. So it's like, I don't know, yeah, it would be like whoever runs Mount Vernon these days, you know, writing a book about George Washington. It's just, oh shit, you're not really going to beat that in terms of credentials and available material to work with to make a really definitive book. So that dream died right there. So yeah, the Lafayette thing, it was like the second time ever. So Old Guard Coup, who do we want to coup this? Because it's like, we're gonna still go with the military, right? So do we want it to be Goering who gets that? Oh, John was asking, have I written a book? No. I've written some very long papers, but no, not a book. That's like PhD and onward stuff. Pick Spear because he's weakest. It's a good point. He's a little bitch. Let's go Spear. So Spear's in charge now. Coup d'etat in Guatemala. Wow. What history figure do I think does not have a book written about them? Well, shit, now I need to be careful because maybe I'm going to jinx myself if I bring one up. I'm going to do videos on the French Revolution. Right, yeah. I'm going to do a series of videos, and they're going to be very short. Like, I'm actually aiming for 2 to 5 minutes each. I'm kind of setting as a goal that, like, if I go over 5 minutes, I'm doing something wrong. And if I'm going over 10 minutes, I'm not even going to fucking upload it. Yeah, I'm going to do, like, a series of videos. I think I'm going to do 6 that are going to talk about when did the French Revolution begin. And then I'm going to do a lot more. I'm probably going to do, like, 10 or more on when did the French Revolution end. And I'm basically going to be making arguments for and against it. Alright, German Civil War has begun. And also, it would appear Tito has won in Serbia. But, actually, just today I was thinking about, like, I wonder if there's been any book that is, covered the life of not just Napoleon, but, like, kind of expanding on his brothers. Because Napoleon's siblings are, quite interesting themselves. Obviously, they're nothing compared to him. But his, like here, I'm gonna try to pull up a family tree here. Let's see. Hold on a second. Napoleon family tree. So I was thinking, like, maybe doing something, it could be, this was just literally an idea I had today, where it's, like, something on all of his siblings. It could be, like, a family thing, I don't know. It could be, like, you know how there's that book, Dreyfus, A Family Affair, that doesn't just cover Alfred Dreyfus, but also his siblings and descendants and shit. But, like, so there was, like, Lucien Bonaparte and Louis Bonaparte and Jerome Bonaparte, and then, like, Jerome was, like, the anti... Was it Jerome? Fuck. I think it was Jerome. Hold on a second. German Civil... Wait, fuck. German Civil War. But, like, but I think I want to say that it was Jerome. Jerome was, like, the anti-Talleyrand, in that, you know how Talleyrand would constantly bounce from regime to regime to regime. So, like, he was a revolutionary, and then he was in the Directory, and then he was with Napoleon, and then he worked for the Bourbons, and etc. 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 So the thing was, like, I think Lucien, was it Lucien? Was it Lucien or Jerome? This is fucking bothering me. But they basically he was, like, the anti-Talleyrand, because everybody he sided with was, like, the losers, except that and at one point he fled to England, and he was, like, a celebrity in England, because it's like, look, Napoleon Bonaparte's brother is on our side, haha, he's the good Bonaparte. But then, here was the thing, even though he was against his brother, when his brother was exiled to Elba and then came back and the 100 Days happened, he fled, or I guess returned to France to side with his brother, who, you know, promptly lost the 100 Days later. So he was, yeah, I don't know. Despite our best efforts to stabilize the nation, the divide between the factions. So, yeah, we want to say we are the Junta. Here we go. Actually gonna start the Civil War. Alright, hold on. July 25th. What an accursed date. Let's see. Descendants of a medieval king of Ireland whose grandparents came to Portugal. He was an important figure. Yeah, there were regional kings. Some were more successful than others. Some did dub themselves kings of Ireland. Well, there was, like, what's his name? Connacht. King Connacht, the one who made the cross. Okay. Junta start. Yes, De Berger Krieg. So, who are we? Are we down here? Is this us? Yes. The Emergency Wehrstaat against Speer and the Greater German Reich. And then the Schutzstaffel Ordensstaat under Heinrich Himmler has taken control of the West. We kind of have, like, a split thing going here, so this is kind of ugly. Are you ugly? A hunter like me? The Nazis are no cure. I don't remember the rest of the song. Are you ugly? We are dirt, we are alone, you know we're far from sober. I'm so sorry. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out my game plan here. Alright, of course we want Manstein in charge. Okay. Let's see if we can do a quick thrust up to Germania with these guys. Unlikely, but we'll still try. Oh, thank you. Speaking of Napoleon, right there in the top left corner. Thank you very much for the super chat, Matt Beast Yeti. It's who says, "All right, chat. We've started the junta. Now let's not stab each other in the back until after the war." Yeah. CHG singing "Awaken My Grandma." My apologies. I apologize, even though I know it's lies. I'm just playing. Okay. Here we go. So this just leaves these guys. Okay, these are the ones we actually do want seriously driving north. Got all of our tanks and whatnot, basically. Damn. They really cut deep into France. Look, we took Dunkirk, Calais. Wow. Yeah, France got ate up. Tore up from the flow up. Okay. Alright, I think we are just about ready here. So we put Speidel there. Gudrun, we gotta save for our tanks. So these are our tanks, basically. So Gudrun will run that shit. Frederick und Obrecht. Alright, I think we're ready to go, everybody. They're gonna release a book biography soon about Boris Savinkov. Unironically, I bet you that's because of Kaiserreich. Because has anybody seen that chart that's going around recently that has shown that since the Kaiserreich Hearts of Iron 4 mod has come out, union membership in the industrial workers of the world has like notably gone up. Like it was still from a base of like beforehand. I think they still only had like 100,000 members left in the whole country, but it has significantly increased since then. And so those things is like, if it wasn't because of Kaiserreich, it was indirectly because of Kaiserreich. And you know what's funny? I actually did at one point consider joining the Industrial Workers of the World so I could get a souvenir card. Because it used to be that they would send it to you. But then I found out that you don't actually get a physical card anymore. So, because I was just going to join and then leave. Immediately just pay 1 month's due and then leave just so I can get the card. But apparently they don't do that anymore. It's just, they just track you digitally. You don't actually have to carry your card around in the wallet anymore. But I just thought that would be a fun thing to like post in the community tab. Like, hey! You know, I'd blur out my name or whatever. So okay, so what was I gonna do with save? Oh yeah, Junta. Okay, yeah, Junta armies assigned. There we go. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's just a bunch of 20-year-olds who fantasize about a Russian-style communist revolution in the U.S., but overall good for them. Well, that's not what syndicalism is. So he said, the book is entitled To Break Russia's Change, so yeah, the author clearly was influenced by Kaiserreich. Well, now I need to look this up. What's the name of the guy who wrote it? Let's see here. The author's name is Vladimir Alexandrov. Oh, so he's actually Russian. Okay, well, if he's actually Russian, he might actually have known this shit before. Well, apparently he's written another book called The Black Russian. Okay, translate it to English, please. Hold on. The Black Russian Alexander. Oh, I'm trying to look this damn book up. Or Alexandrov, excuse me. Alexandrov, Vladimir. Oh, I heard another alert go off. Oh, thank you very much. Here, Ace says, IWW member here, you do get an actual physical card. Do you? Because this was years ago when I looked it up. You know what? I'm going to look this up again now. Industrial Workers of the World. Okay, join the IWW. Create a login. Fill out membership application. Pay your initiation as first months. New memberships are processed in 7... First off, have they updated the website? Because this looks better than I remember. It's actually clean. It's nicely organized. New memberships are processed in 7-day blocks throughout the month. Once you have completed all 3 steps listed above, a new member packet will be mailed to the address you provide in your application. Once you're a member, you can participate. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Benefits of a union. Okay. Cool. Oh, wait, no, they have a new website. Oh, isn't this? Wow. Hold on, let me show you guys this. Look at this. It's got like an interactive homepage. Or not an interactive, that's not the word, but it's like it's got a moving thing. Dang it. Can I let me refresh it because they had like a flag at the start. There it is. Haha. So, does this logo look familiar to anybody, by the way? Let's see. 3 to 4 weeks to get a card and a free IWW button. Cool. Let's see here. Uh-huh. Okay, so I'm looking up this Black Russian book also in the other tab. So apparently this is about a guy who was... a black guy born in the United States to former slaves, and he ended up traveling around the world because he was looking. I'm just reading the editor description. So basically he travels around the world and to try to find a nicer place to live than the United States, and he ends up in Russia where he finds no color line, and he becomes rich and famous owner of theaters and restaurants. But he gets ruined by the Bolshevik Revolution, escapes to Constantinople, makes another fortune in jazz clubs. But it doesn't give away what happened, but eventually he ends up in prison before dying. That's extremely interesting. I've never heard of this guy, but that's fun. That's fun stuff. Anyway... So yeah, some people are saying, like, wait a minute, doesn't this look like Conquering History Games logo? Yes, but let me be perfectly clear. That is not, an endorsement of my personal political beliefs at all. Just because you're a socialist doesn't mean you can't have a modern website. Well, no, it's because, like, whenever I looked at their website before, when I was wanting to get a card several years ago, it didn't look like that. German Civil War. The collapse of Europe's hegemon destroys the old order. Okay, where are these divisions at? Okay, they're like down here. So put them there. We're not at war with Italy, right? Okay. So, what was I saying? CHG is a union boy. Well, actually, I'm like mandatorily in a union right now. But anyway, so let's just go on the offensive, shall we? But what was I about to say? About my logo. Yeah. So here's a fun fact, because even though I'm a student of history and an American, mostly I studied overseas history. I used to study a fair amount of American history, and then I just kind of got bored with it and moved on to other things. But initially I knew quite a bit of American history. But I had never heard of the industrial workers of the world, because let's face it, in real history, they never did a ton, other than like that thing with the Socialist Party for a little bit. But anyway, hold on, control the skies, old equipment, deep warfare, oh, volunteer army. No, actually, we got plenty already. We don't need that. But anyway, I actually didn't learn about the industrial workers of the world until I started researching them more so I could talk about them while playing Kaiserreich. But before that, the kind of thing that initially launched my channel, so to speak, was when so like kind of the first video ever on my channel that actually got traction, and this was technically on my old channel. This is actually the second time that I've had a channel named Conquering History Games. I had to like delete the old one and remake it. Anyway, so I was known for my Kaiserreich guides, because the first major video on the channel was when I think I was the first person on the internet, not counting obviously the developers knew how to do it, to figure out how to avoid the Second American Civil War. So I remember I just did like a quick little video on it, because I didn't even know that was a thing you could do. And I was just like, hey, if anybody on the internet wants to know, you actually can avoid the Civil War, and you just do this. And it got like thousands of hits so quickly. And so I started like, oh shit, people like this. Let me do more Kaiserreich guides. And so I started doing a lot of Kaiserreich guides. And then I thought, well, I should change my channel logo to something more reflective of Kaiserreich. So I ended up basing it off of the CSA, which is itself based off of the IWW. And long story short, this is like the 5th iteration of my logo. It's gone through a couple of different versions before it finally landed here. So these days, you'd have to really be looking for it before people notice it. But like, you know, the roots of it are still there, but it's like it's pretty apolitical now. Not that I'm saying it's like before I did or did not believe in the industrial workers of the world. You guys know I don't like to talk about my personal politics, but it's pretty apolitical now. So it's extremely rare that people will notice and bring it up anymore. Didn't they make the Second Civil War inevitable now? Yeah, and you know what? I don't have a problem with that. It's too important, I think, number one, for the lore of the Kaiserreich world, or like just like the kind of how things play out in that society, in the Kaiserreich world in the 30s and 40s. It's too important for the Second American Civil War to happen for it not to be inevitable. But also from a gameplay perspective, it's also way too important. Like, you just got to do it. Damn, I really thought I was just going to be able to march my way to a super easy victory here. It's looking like I was wrong right now. Damn, I can't fucking punch through these assholes right here. Son of a fucking bitch. I think I'm going to have to restart this. I thought that everybody would be too busy with everything else. That you see how like this one militia unit here is just running around everywhere? I kind of thought that's what was going to happen with everybody, and clearly it's not. So we're going to give this a little bit more of a try, but I think I screwed up. I'm trying to unite the front. Hold on. So, wait, united front. So, left, 2, 3. Yeah. And plus, like in the original version of the U.S. Civil War, I think it kind of crippled you too much to avoid the Civil War. In terms of your economy, so it wasn't really worth it. And then after they did the redo, it just, I don't know, like, I think that I'm perfectly okay with the Civil War being a mandatory event. I know a lot of people were bitching about it, but those voices seem to have quieted down. There's just always this reaction of any time the Kaiserreich team changes anything, they go, oh, it's stupid, I hate it, no, it's bad. And then it gets released and everybody loves it. But it's just, mostly it's just people go, you know, change, me no like different thing. Here we go. Yeah, you can see the bits and pieces of the CSA logo. Yeah, and I actually, now here's an old school. I remember I used to have like an Xbox style controller on it over the globe. even though I play on PC. But yeah, like that I ended up going, nah, I don't really like that. So, like I said, there's been several iterations of my logo over the years, but I've had this one for a while. I think I've had this one for a couple years now. Did people freak out about Italy changing in Kaiserreich? Yeah, I think the only thing that people initially said is that they were happy that the Socialist Republic now bordered France, but everything else, it was just bitch, bitch, bitch. Let's see, somebody says, I think we can all agree removing Kerensky was a bad idea. Well, let me play the devil's advocate and ask, why the heck would Kerensky still be in power in 1936 and still even pretend that it's a democracy? He would have been in power by that point for, what, 16 years straight? No, more. It'd be like 20 years. Almost 20 years he'd be going on. Brazilian politics has entered a period of turbulence. Hold on a sec, guys. I'm going to be... Oh, man. I got to eat myself a nice dinner after this. It was another hot one today. It was 103 at work while I was driving around in that fucking sweat box with no AC. So I'm pretty hungry, but I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get myself a glass of milk to hold me over. So, 2, 3. But I think the Russia rework's going to be interesting. The France rework is going to be interesting. Although, if I did have to complain, I do feel like it's not as bad as it used to be. But I have felt for a couple of years now that the, you know, earlier I was talking about how, like, let's face it, the community, I'm not saying whether I agree with it or not, but the community trends right wing. And so you have all these people who are always complaining, the CSA wins the Civil War all the time, which I think canonically makes sense because the Entente is weakened, they're in exile. Germany starts going through Black Monday and then sometimes can end up in skirmishes. While France and the Union of Britain aren't doing anything until they start World War II. So why would it, so they're in the best position to aid their faction of the American Civil War. Oh, and also Japan sometimes will get busy with China and whatever. So it made sense to me that if there's no human players, and yeah, and the CSA has all the industry. That's the whole point, right? Is like the industrial heartland works for the CSA, so the longer the war goes, the better it's going to be. And I've said this 100 times, but I'll always say it, is if the American Union State does not rush up to grab DC and stuff, most of the time the CSA should win the Civil War, you know, unless there's extenuating circumstances. Like, obviously, if Canada intervenes, they're going to lose hard. And that's fine. But but people would bitch and complain, and so they kept nerfing and nerfing and nerfing and nerfing, and it's just like, I've seen situations where the CSA, they just can't fucking win. And actually there's a campaign I was once doing. I ended up not uploading it because I was feeling a little burnt out and I just didn't want to finish it. But I was once playing a France game. This was, I want to say, early 2000. I was working on it, and I was getting involved in the war, and I was just encircling and encircling and encircling, and I was just gobbling up all of these troops. But the CSA was still just so fucking weak that they couldn't get anything done. And then even in this other recent campaign I did with, you know, where I was getting involved in America, it's just like the CSA is just, they've just been nerfed to hell to appease people. Now it's the Pacific states that wins all the time, because everybody's just mauling each other over here, and then the Pacific states doesn't have population problems as bad as it used to, so they just end up rolling over everybody. And so France, so jumping off of that, I kind of feel like France in its update is getting nerfed even more. And it's like, I just think from a gameplay perspective, in terms of you want there to be a little bit of doubt who's going to win, it just feels already like Germany always wins the Second Weltkrieg, and it's not even that it drags on for a while and they win pretty handily, even with Russia, you know, jumping on their backs. Having said that, that was another rework. I remember, now who remembers these times? The CCF has won. Who remembers when Russia used to be able to join the Reichspakt? Which I always thought was really dumb. Yeah, I wasn't that harsh about it when it existed, but like, even the fucking czars joining up with, or maybe I could kind of forgive it with the czars, but like when Boris Savinkov would join the Germans, that made no sense to me. And I remember that I once was doing a co-op campaign with that. By the way, I'm going to be ending the stream soon here because I want to eat dinner and do other stuff before I stream again later today. But like Boris freaking Savinkov joining the Reichspakt, are you kidding me? And that actually happened a long time ago. I was doing a co-op campaign where I was playing as France, and then Mordred Viking, he's another guy on YouTube, you should check him out, he's great. We were playing, and I remember we were beating up Germany. We were just about to win the war, like the momentum was swinging in our favor, and then Boris Savinkov joins Germany against us. Boris Savinkov once joined the Third International in one of your games. So yeah, it's like, what the hell? Yeah, and I remember when it happened. If you go look up that campaign, when it happens, I kind of surprised myself because I just suddenly scream out, "Fucking traitor!" because I just couldn't believe he had done that. You know, arguably the most anti-German reactionary of all your Russian leaders, the most, you know, reclamationist-minded Russian leader there probably is, joining Germany. I just couldn't fucking believe it. Come on, right here, right fucking here. We can unite the fronts. Oh, lep, 2, 3. Oh, lep, 2, 3. Oh, we're fucked now. We're good and fucked now. Uh-oh. I have not been micromanaging this for shit. I thought this war was going to be much easier. I'm probably going to have to restart it in the next stream. Try to do this properly. HOI4 says CHG released Russian more for my mod. Do you mind reminding me which one is your mod? Because there's a couple of people who watch me that work on mods. Yeah, yo, gonna reconquer the lands in the west. Psych. Yeah. German Civil War is pain here, NTNO. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was thinking about how my tanks could be useful, but there's no fuel in the country. Have I ever played the Total War mod? There's a Total War mod for Hearts of Iron 4? I haven't heard of that. No, but yeah. Pain, Pecco. Oh, it looks like they're fighting also the, yeah, they're also going after Israel and Palestine. No, this is what's pain. Pain, pain, pain. The Hellenic state. These guys have been at war since, like, the beginning of the game, I think. Yeah, meanwhile, Spain's just chilling. Chilling in their newfound republic. Just having a good time. Having a good time! Yeah, I think I would have to redo this war to do it proper. It's known as Rising Eagle. Ah. Do you have like a Discord or something for it? Ostland Civil War. More Civil Wars! More. And yet, despite like a million wars happening at all times, OBS Studio is like sucking in 5 times as much of my CPU as this game is right now. Oh, OBS. Broker Craig is playing. Ever played Black Ice? No. In terms of new mods, though, unless it's something that like a viewer made, I don't have like a high on my priority list playing new Hearts of Iron 4 mods, except for one in particular, which I'm not saying what it is, and I'm glad I never did, because it's a mod that when I first heard about it in January, they were aiming for a June release, and we're in June, and I don't think they're going to be releasing it this month. And that's fine, because I haven't said who they are, so now I'm not putting pressure on them. Whenever it comes out, it comes out. But I've had it on my radar for quite a while. You know, we're just gonna go ahead and stop it there. I think I'm gonna have to just restart this war and actually micromanage correctly from the beginning. I'm making things too hard on myself. But I'm going to stream again later on today if anybody wants to join me. Thank you very much for those of you who donated via Super Chat. The Super Chats are what fund, you know, the live streams. That's what keeps them going, and so I'm always incredibly appreciative of that. You all have yourselves a wonderful evening. Good night. Or see you later.